They took our children. The Iridians made the gravest mistake imaginable when they stole our sons and daughters from the New Terra colony. Led by the cruel overseer Ymir, the alien fleet descended on our remote outpost, light years from Earth. They demanded we surrender our children to toil in their mines and factories as slave labor. We resisted. We fought back with every weapon we had, but we were hopelessly outmatched. The Iridians' technology surpassed ours by centuries. Their ships bristled with superior firepower that made short work of our defenses. In the end, they subdued us and tore scores of crying, terrified children from their parents' arms. My own daughter, Emily, only 7 years old, screamed for me as they dragged her onto their ships. I could do nothing as the Iridian fleet departed with their human cargo. Our once thriving colony lay shattered. The Iridians' cruelty had ripped out our hearts and broken countless families. But even in our darkest hour, a spark of resistance ignited. I was Nathan Parker, a former Special Forces soldier who had traded violence for a quiet life with my wife and daughter. But the Iridians' act of barbarism reawakened the warrior within me. I swore I would chase them to the very heart of their empire to rescue Emily and the other children, no matter the cost. I wasn't alone. Other parents with military and law enforcement backgrounds rallied to my call. The seeds of rebellion were sown that fateful day when the Iridians underestimated the power of human parental love. Our mission would shake the foundations of their empire. We would bring our children home or die trying. For the Iridians, there would be no mercy, no quarter given. They were warned never to mess with human children. Now they would face the reckoning they so richly deserved as they learned to fear the unstoppable wrath of human parents. The Iridians' cruelest mistake would be their last. Nathan's eyes sharp as he reviewed the stolen Iridian data on the holoscreen before him. The numbers were staggering. Thousands of children enslaved across dozens of labor camps, their locations now laid bare. His heart ached at the thought of his little Emily toiling away in some dark mine, her once bright spirit crushed under the weight of Iridian cruelty. Around him, the surviving members of the Parental Liberation Front tended to their wounds and consoled each other over their fallen comrades. The raid on the supply hub had been costly, but the intel they'd gained was invaluable. Nathan knew that Mikhail's sacrifice had not been in vain. Sarah limped over, her arm in a makeshift sling. "We hit them hard today," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "But we're going to need more than a few stolen ships and some fancy guns to take down their fleet." Nathan nodded grimly. "Agreed, but now we know where to strike. If we can cripple their military infrastructure, we'll cut off their ability to reinforce the labor camps. That's when we'll make our move to rescue the children." He turned to address the assembled PLF members. "I won't lie to you. The odds are stacked against us. The Iridians have numbers and technology on their side. But they made the mistake of underestimating the strength of human parents. They thought they could break us by taking our children. Instead, they've unleashed a force they can't hope to contain." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. These men and women, once ordinary colonists, now stood united in their persistence to bring their children home, despite the toll. Nathan brought up a star map, highlighting key Iridian military installations. "Here's where we start," he said, pointing to a cluster of red dots. "We'll need to coordinate strikes on these targets simultaneously. It won't be easy, but if we succeed, we'll deal a crippling blow to their fleet." As the PLF members began to discuss logistics and tactics, a comm chime sounded. Nathan frowned as he read the incoming message. "It's from Earth," he said, his eyebrows rising in surprise. "They've been monitoring our activities. Some are calling for official support for our mission." Sarah scoffed. "And how many are cowering in fear of provoking the Iridians? We can't count on Earth to fight our battles for us." "Agreed," Nathan said. "We'll take whatever help they can offer, but we won't wait for them to grow a spine. Our children's lives hang in the balance." He turned back to the star map, his gaze hardening with persistence. The Iridians had sown the wind by stealing their children. Now they would reap the whirlwind of parental fury unleashed. The Parental Liberation Front would not rest until every last child was safe in their parents' arms once more. Nathan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the task ahead settling on his shoulders. "Let's get to work," he said, his voice ringing with purpose. We've got a fleet to cripple and children to save. As the PLF members dispersed to begin their preparations, Nathan couldn't help but think of his little Emily. Hold on, baby girl, he thought fiercely. Daddy's coming for you, and he's bringing hell with him. The Parental Liberation Front's stolen Iridian frigate sliced through the inky void of space, its hull still bearing scorch marks from their last raid. Nathan stood at the command console, his eyes fixed on the tactical display as a dozen green markers converged on their target. All teams report in, he ordered, his voice taut with anticipation. Alpha team in position, Sarah's voice crackled over the comm. Ready to hit the shipyards. Beta team standing by, came another response. Weapons depot locked in our sights. One by one, the strike teams confirmed their readiness. Months of guerrilla warfare had honed the PLF into a formidable fighting force, each member driven by the burning desire to rescue their stolen children. Execute, Nathan commanded. Across the Iridian military installation, explosions blossomed in the vacuum of space. PLF ships darted between towering structures, their weapons blazing. Alarms wailed as Iridian defenders scrambled to respond, but the humans' swift assault left them reeling. Nathan's frigate dove towards a massive communications array. Fire, he ordered, and a salvo of missiles streaked from their launch tubes. The array erupted in a spectacular fireball, severing the Iridians' ability to call for reinforcements. Primary targets neutralized, Sarah reported. Time to exfil. Her words cut off as a proximity alarm blared. Nathan's eyes widened as he saw a new contact materialize on his display. An Iridian prison transport, caught in the crossfire of their raid. Change of plans, Nathan growled. We're boarding that transport. There could be children aboard. The frigate's grappling arms latched onto the Iridian vessel, and Nathan led the boarding party himself. They cut through the airlock, weapons at the ready. Instead of Iridian guards, they found cells filled with alien prisoners, emaciated, hollow-eyed beings of various species. One of them, a lithe female with iridescent scales, pressed against the force field of her cell. Please, she said in halting English, help us. Nathan deactivated the force fields, freeing the prisoners. The female alien approached him, her luminous eyes fixed on his face. I am Zyra, she said, of the Zorgian people, the Iridians. They took our children too. Nathan's breath caught in his throat. He extended his hand to Zyra, a gesture of solidarity transcending species. Then fight with us, he said. Help us bring all our children home. Zyra's grip was firm as she took his hand. I will do more than fight, she said, her eyes gleaming with a fierce intelligence. I will give you the means to strike at the very heart of their empire. As they raced back to the frigate, alarms echoing through the corridors, Nathan felt a surge of hope. With Zyra's knowledge and the growing alliance of victimized species, they might finally have a chance to end the Iridians' reign of terror. The frigate disengaged from the transport, its engines flaring as it accelerated away from the devastated installation. Behind them, secondary explosions continued to tear through Iridian structures. It was another successful raid, but Nathan knew it was only the beginning. As they jumped to lightspeed, he turned to Zyra. Tell me everything you know about Iridian technology, he said. It's time we took this fight to the next level. Zyra nodded, her scales shimmering in the blue glow of the ship's faster-than-light field. First, she said, we must discuss their quantum communication network. If we can infiltrate it, we can turn their own technology against them. Nathan leaned in, listening intently as Zyra began to explain. With each word, the path to rescuing their children, human and alien alike, became clearer. The Iridians had no idea what was coming for them. The stolen Iridian frigate shuddered as it dropped out of lightspeed, the looming bulk of the enemy flagship filling the view screen. Nathan gripped the command console, his eyes hardened with willpower. All teams prepare for boarding, he ordered. Remember your training. We're here for our children. Beside him, Zyra's scales shimmered with nervous energy. The quantum network is disabled, she reported. They can't call for reinforcements. The frigate's engines flared as it maneuvered alongside the massive Iridian vessel. Grappling arms extended, latching onto the hull with a resounding clang. Nathan led the charge through the airlock, his weapon raised. The corridors of the Iridian flagship rang with weapons fire and shouted orders. Nathan's team pushed forward relentlessly, their faces set with fierce purpose. Iridian soldiers fell before their advance, but not without exacting a toll. "Jenkins down!" Sarah cried as an energy blast caught the former police officer in the chest. Nathan gritted his teeth and pressed on, knowing every second counted. They fought their way to the command deck, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The doors hissed open, revealing Overseer Ymir, his alien features twisted in a sneer. "You dare invade my ship?" Ymir snarled, his voice dripping with contempt. Nathan didn't waste time with words. He charged forward, ducking under Ymir's first swing and driving his fist into the alien's midsection. The two grappled fiercely, neither willing to yield. "Your children serve the Empire now," Ymir taunted as they struggled. "Soon they won't even remember your names." White-hot rage surged through Nathan's veins. With a roar, he broke Ymir's hold and slammed the alien against the bulkhead. His fists pounded into Ymir's face and torso, each blow fueled by months of pent-up anguish and fury. Elsewhere on the station, Zira led her team through winding corridors, following the signal from her stolen data pad. They burst into a vast chamber lined with stasis pods, each containing a small, motionless form. "Emily!" Zira called, spotting Nathan's daughter. The girl's eyes fluttered open, confusion giving way to hope, as Zira deactivated the pod. Alarms blared as Zira's team worked to free the other children. "Reactor instability detected," an automated voice warned. "Evacuation protocols initiated." In orbit above, Admiral Zorgax's dreadnought rocked under a barrage of Iridian fire. Its shields flickered and failed, leaving the massive ship vulnerable. Just as all seemed lost, new contacts appeared on the tactical display. "This is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet," a voice crackled over the comm. "We're here to assist, targeting Iridian forces now." Fresh squadrons of Earth fighters swarmed into the fray, their weapons blazing. The tide of battle shifted, but not before a wing of Iridian bombers made a suicidal run on Zorgax's crippled vessel. On the station's surface, Sarah coordinated a frantic evacuation. Shuttles loaded with freed children rocketed away from the doomed structure. A stricken transport, trailing smoke and debris, careened towards a group of fleeing civilians. Nathan, battered but triumphant after his battle with Ymir, saw the impending disaster. Without hesitation, he sprinted towards the shuttle's path. With a desperate leap, he grabbed the craft's damaged controls, wrenching it away from the innocents below. The shuttle slammed into the reactor complex, trapping Nathan inside the sprawling facility. Alarms shrieked as Nathan dragged himself through smoke-filled corridors. He reached the reactor control room, his fingers flying over unfamiliar controls. With seconds to spare, he vented the unstable core's energy into space, averting catastrophe. As the station began to tear itself apart, Zira's team and the last evacuees piled into waiting shuttles. They joined the battered but victorious fleet, leaving the collapsing Iridian base behind. Aboard the flagship, a bloodied Ymir crawled to a hidden console. With his last ounce of strength, he activated the ship's self-destruct sequence. Sarah, overseeing the final evacuation, noticed the warning lights flashing on the bridge displays. "Everyone out now!" she shouted, herding the remaining crew towards the last shuttle. The small craft blasted free of the docking bay, moments before the Iridian flagship erupted in a massive fireball. As the combined human and alien fleet limped away from the devastated Iridian stronghold, Sarah stared at the list of rescued children on her datapad. One name was conspicuously absent. "Nathan," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Where are you?" "You?" Sarah's voice cracked as she stared at the empty space where the Iridian flagship had been moments before. The fleet limped away from the devastation, battered ships filled with exhausted fighters and traumatized children. As they entered hyperspace, Sarah slumped in her chair, the weight of their Pyrrhic victory settling on her shoulders. Days later, on New Terra, Rebecca Parker cradled her newborn son, tears streaming down her face as she watched the returning ships descend through the atmosphere. Emily stood beside her, clutching her mother's hand tightly. "Where's Dad?" Emily asked, her voice small and uncertain. Rebecca swallowed hard, unable to find the words. The silence was answer enough. As families reunited across the colony, joy mingled with sorrow. Parents embraced their rescued children, while others mourned those who didn't return. The colony's central plaza became an impromptu memorial, hollow images of the fallen flickering in the evening breeze. Governor Chen addressed the gathered crowd, his voice solemn. "Today, we celebrate the return of our children and honor those who gave everything to bring them home. Nathan Parker's sacrifice will never be forgotten." Emily buried her face in her mother's side, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Thousands of light years away, on a derelict ship floating in the void, Nathan Parker gasped awake. Pain lanced through his body, every breath in agony. Radiation alarms blared, warning of lethal exposure levels. As his vision blurred and consciousness slipped away, Nathan saw a sleek, unfamiliar ship approaching through the viewscreen. His last thought before darkness took him was of Rebecca and Emily. He awoke to the hum of advanced medical equipment, his body submerged in a translucent healing gel. A face swam into view, distinctly Iridian, yet somehow different. "Rest easy, Nathan Parker," the alien said, its voice surprisingly gentle. "You're safe now." Nathan tried to speak, but no sound emerged. The Iridian placed a hand on the tank. "We have much to discuss when you're stronger. For now, know that you are among friends, Iridians who oppose the Empire's cruelty." As Nathan drifted back to sleep, images flashed through his mind. The station's destruction, the children they'd rescued, and those they couldn't save. Even in his drug-induced haze, he knew this war was just the beginning. On the Iridian throne world, Emperor Jargon's rage echoed through the vast halls of his palace. Holographic displays showed the spreading rebellion, system after system rising up against imperial rule. "Prepare the extermination fleet," Jargon snarled to his trembling generals. "These humans have defied us for the last time. We will wipe New Terra from existence." As warships gathered for the assault, a hidden signal pulsed across subspace. Deep within the Empire's most secure facility, rows of stasis pods held small, twisted forms, the results of unthinkable experiments on human children. In one pod, a young girl's eyes snapped open, glowing with an eerie, inhuman light.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.